Hello, sir. Can you hear me? Sir. Mail ID യിൽ വരുന്നല്ല പറഞ്ഞത്. അമ്മേ എന്റെ ലാപ്ടോപ്പ് ഒന്ന് അങ്ങോട്ട് എടുത്ത് തരുമോ?
Sir, yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Welcome all of you to the Koha workshop. May I know how many Koha users here? No Koha users in the participants? No, okay, no problem. Anyway, today we will give you, I'm going to give you a introduction to Koha, how to prepare for Koha implementation. Am I audible? Okay, okay. Okay. As it's a Koha is an open source software or free software, I will introduce you what is what is concept of free and open source software. What are the software requirements to install Koha? Then hardware requirements, how to prepare a purchase proposal for the Koha installation. Then what are the skill sets you have to acquire for Koha installation and maintenance? Then Koha release schedules, then type of Koha implementation, and how to keep in touch with the changes. Um, Koha runs on Linux, so we have to first learn about um, a brief introduction to Linux, why we use open source software. Main reason is that especially in developing countries, these proprietary softwares are very highly priced. For example, Windows operating system, they have many editions. Here, Pro edition, 60,000 rupees. Windows 10 Home edition, 10,000 rupees we have to pay. And we people think that Windows is a free software. It's not a free software. Many of the Indians use, especially developed and underdeveloped and developing countries, use pirated edition of Windows. Okay, the same case with the MS Office, we have to pay thousands of rupees for MS Office, the licensed version. At the same time, Linux is free and LibreOffice is free, and many drawbacks with the Windows when we use in a production system. Many open source software does not work with the Windows. um, and it would need too much hardware resources like Windows 11, the latest version. It works only with a computer with a good hardware profile, minimum 8 GB RAM. It does not work with the old computer. Okay, then I think you have experienced that when we update the system, it asks for don't shut down the system. It takes time to update the install the update. Okay, anyway, for production purpose, Windows is not stable. So we use Linux-based operating system for the installation of Koha kind of software like Koha, DSpace, Moodle, then Omeka, and many open source software we can install or for production purpose, we need to install it on a Linux-based operating system. This open source software using is a culture. We gradually learn many things regarding this software. Lot of things changing in this scenario. We need to learn it. In Linux, we can be a administrator in the bottom part. In Windows, you cannot be a administrator. They consider as a mere user. We only to pay them to use the operating system. In Linux, it's almost free, almost it's entirely free, and we can become an administrator. Then we have to learn what is the uniqueness of Linux operating system. Actually, Linux is not an operating system. The name of the kernel is called Linux. The operating system make use this kernel to build the operating system is called Linux-based operating system. Ubuntu is a Linux-based operating system. The reason is that they use the Linux kernel. Okay, what's the purpose of kernel? Kernel act as a heart of any operating system. For example, it controls everything regarding uh, regarding an operating system. It, it controls everything. It controls the hardware. Suppose we play a movie in the PC, we have to increase the sound. We have to increase the sound button. It the kernel get the instruction to increase the sound, and the kernel pass the instruction to the hardware at, and it increases sound. Suppose we click on print button, the kernel receive the instruction, the kernel pass the instruction to the printer, and it take the printout. That's the purpose of kernel. The story of the Linux, I'm going to say, see, in 1985, Richard Stallman and team, they tried to develop an operating system, same like Unix. At that time, Unix was the popular operating system. That was a proprietary one. Um, okay, they felt some problems with the connecting Unix with the printer, and it denied. The printer manufacturing company denied the permission to change the code of the driver. Driver means a software component which connects between printer and the operating system. And they think about why not develop a new operating system which allow all these things. And they started the project. The project name is GNU. GNU means GNU. GNU, not Unix. That's the full form of that project. Um, they could success in a certain extent. They could develop lot of things associated with the operating system. An operating system, same like building an operating system, same like building a car, engine, body, tire, everything it require. They build most of the components, and they could not build the kernel. Kernel is the heart of the operating system. In 1991, Linus Torvald, a student from Finland, also he tried to develop an operating system, but he could not finish only the kernel part. And as a hobbyist, he created that kernel part. It's a programming written in programming language and shared in the internet and announced its availability. And many people started to build an operating system using this kernel and the parts developed by GNU Linux project. So it's called a GNU Linux. Okay, and using these components, this Linux kernel and GNU Linux operating system parts, many Linux projects arrived. For example, Debian, that's an earlier Linux-based operating system project. Debian is a Linux-based operating system. Then Red Hat. In 2004, Ubuntu released. That's the most user-friendly Linux-based operating system. It changed the history of Linux-based operating system with the release of Ubuntu. Even common people, officers started to use Linux in their desktop PC. That was so user friendly. Even Ubuntu is the most beautiful operating system. Okay, in 2008, Android operating system came. Its kernel is a modified kernel of this Linux kernel that's suitable for mobile component. And 2012, Raspberry Pi, that's a single board computer. Um, Single board computer arrived. It's a small computer component, a separate Linux developed for such the kind of small um, hardware. I think you have noticed that in railway station they have some display board. Actually, behind that display board there is a computer. They use single board computer, very small in size of an ATM card. Okay, okay, and lot of additions, lot of advancements still going on. Linux is a strong operating system. Linux-based operating systems are very strong. This is a story of Linux. Then we have to learn what's the difference between open source and free software. Actually, free software started in 1980s, this movement, and certain people split away from the movement, and they started another movement that is called open source. Their philosophy is different. Open source is a software development technique. free software is a political philosophy. Both people they develop free software, only difference in their ideologies. Open source software, their philosophy is that make the source code open, allow others to make changes it, and allow it grow. Okay, more people will work on it, it will become more good. And one copy of the software will be free. The developers can sell or develop another a proprietary version and sell it and make money. But free software, they don't believe that anything proprietary. They says that entire source code should be free, and software no need to become proprietary. That's the difference between open source and free software. They use different licenses. um, GPL licenses mainly used by Free Software Foundation. They agree, and a few more licenses they also agree. Open source software also they have their own licenses for some permissible licenses. I will tell you an example. We have heard about these two browsers. This is Chrome browser. This is Chromium browser. This is a good example of open source software. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, okay, okay. Okay, this project started by Google. They initially started Chromium browser. Its source code is free, um, and all people, lot of volunteers arrived to develop the source code. And now it's a mature project. Um, the same source code Google make use and put some modifications and good and beautification, and they have added some Google elements. They developed another software called Chrome. Okay, that's the difference. The open source edition is Chromium. The proprietary edition is Chrome. Chrome is a proprietary edition of Google software. It's not a free software. It's a free distribution, but not free software. But they do not charge anything. That's a proprietary one. But at the same time, Chromium is a open source software. That's the difference. That's the difference between open source and free software. It allows the others to change the code and create a proprietary software from the open source code. Then in libraries, we extensively use open source software. For example, DSpace for digital library, ePrints for institutional repositories, Koha for library automation, Moodle for course management, content management, WordPress for website building. These are open free software. Um, anyway, to install this software, we need Linux-based operating system. The developers prefer to install it on Linux-based operating system. As a librarian, to implement these software successfully, we have to build a background knowledge on Linux-based operating system. Anyway, this is a zero-cost software acquisition, nothing to pay. We can use it for home use and office use and for any company use, commercial use, no problem. We can install it on a laptop, desktop, or server. Then its stability better than proprietary software. It frequently release more updates. For example, in the case of Windows, they release a new version every 4 or 5 years. Okay, but in the case of Linux, every day they release updates within two. For example, in the case of Ubuntu, they release a new version every major version every 6 months. Okay, in the case of Debian Linux, they release a stable version every 2 years and they give more life operating system. A user can use it for up to 10 years. It does not die. And we can install it on a old hardware. Suppose you have a computer is very old and very low RAM and low storage, it will work. But if you try to install Windows 11, it does not work. Then why we use Koha? In 2000, Koha project initiated in New Zealand. Then they released it as an open source free software. Now this Koha software is very mature. Now we can ready to install or implement it any kind of library. Any kind of library means we can install it on a public library, academic library, special library, whatever may be the type, we can ready to use. Their features and functions match with any kind of library, nothing to add, we can directly use from scratch. It has enabled many features there. We can use it as a digital library. Then we can use it as a content management system. Suppose you want to add RFID devices into Koha, it's okay. It will accept. It's a very modern software. We can find features and functions suitable for a modern library. What are the various implementation context, Koha implementation? What are the various contexts? One is, suppose a library has no software, we can install from scratch. We can install it and use it. Suppose your library using very old version of Koha, maybe feel difficult to upgrade to the latest version. We have to install uh, the latest version in a PC and restore the database into the newly installed Koha. That's a second option. Upgrade from a very old version of Koha to the latest. Maybe Koha may be installed 10 years back, but the latest version has a lot of changes and a lot of changes in their database structure. So we have to upgrade. Then only we get the features of the latest version. Then migration from legacy automation software to Koha. Suppose you are working on another software, maybe a proprietary software. We can export data from that software, maybe book details in Mark 21 format, and maybe book details we can export in a spreadsheet, and we can import it into Koha. Three my Koha implementation context we face. Anyway, in three instances, Koha we can run. Okay, suppose where we get the support. Suppose we are going to implement Koha. Our mind is blank and our knowledge is blank, but we get support. Two kinds of support available. One is community support. So community support means Koha developers and its community provide all kinds of information to helpful to implement this software. For example, installation manual. You are very familiar with Ubuntu. Suppose you want to install it on Ubuntu or Debian. They have a very comprehensive installation manual on how to install Koha on this Ubuntu and Debian. Then then a very extensive user guide. You are going to use it. We get a very comprehensive user guide in very detailed manner. uh, they elaborate each module how it works with the help of a screenshot. They always update it. Then a lot of discussion forums. Suppose we have any doubt, you can ask directly with the developer. Otherwise, we can put questions in the users forum. Second is commercial support. Suppose you are very busy and no technical knowledge to implement it, you can seek the help of a company or a person to install Koha and migrate book and user details or transaction details from one software to another. Whatever may be the situation, as a librarian, we want to know how it runs, what are the things works behind, and how to operate it. This we have to know about it. The reason is that we have a technical person in our institute, and they don't know about Koha, but we have to give a picture of the Koha and how to implement it. Then only they can successfully install it. Otherwise, they may feel difficult. See, what are the technical requirements to install Koha? First, we need a Linux-based operating system. either Debian or Ubuntu. Lot of other Linux-based operating systems available, but the developers prefer Debian or Ubuntu. The reason is that Debian or Ubuntu is a perfect Linux-based operating system. It's a community-driven operating system. Actually, Debian, Ubuntu derived from Debian. Debian is a universal, considered as a universal Linux-based operating system. Then we need a relational database management system to store book details, user details, and transaction details. We have to implement a RDBMS, either MariaDB or MySQL we required. Anyway, Koha team prefer MariaDB. It's an equivalent of MySQL RDBMS. Then Apache Web Server. Apache Web Server, it requires because of Koha has a web interface. It looks like a website. To enable that feature, we need a web server. Server means the place where serve. Okay, that Apache Web Server software help to enable this web interface feature. Then Perl. Perl is the programming language Koha use. The source code written in Perl. Perl is a very old programming language. These days, many softwares use PHP. At that time, PHP was not developed, so they prefer to use Perl. Now, source code is grow very big, so they cannot transfer it into PHP. So they still stick on with the Perl. And final component, and so many components required. Anyway, these are the major components. It requires a search engine. Search engine means an external third-party search engine required. Suppose we search the book Koha through the Koha OPEC. It lists out the result. This searching capability provided by a search engine. Two search engine they support with Koha. It's available. Support is possible. One is Zebra. Zebra is the default search engine. Another is Elasticsearch. Elasticsearch is better than Zebra. Still in testing stage. Anyway, we can enable both Zebra and Elasticsearch, either one at a time. Anyway, it's two search engine is possible with the Koha. Elasticsearch engine is a similar search engine like Solar. Solar is a search engine works with the DSpace. It has good capability. For example, it can index full text documents, and it can handle well regional languages. Suppose our book details in regional languages, so Elasticsearch can easily find it, search and find it. Then another kind of software components are available, that is plugins. Plugins means some third-party developed features that's by default does not available with the Koha, but if we need it, we have to install separately. That is plugins. Plugins are small software. It can work with the Koha, but does not available by default. Okay, if we need, we have to install separately. These plugins developed by different developers and companies. Various plugins available for various purposes. For example, in this is an opaque screenshot. Here you can see the cover pages of cover flow of with latest books. This feature enabled with the help of a Koha plugin. It's called cover flow. This cover flow plugin developed by Bywater Solutions, a company based in US. Similar way, many plugins we can add to Koha. And many people ask about whether we can install Koha on Windows. Many reasons Koha does not available. Koha Windows version does not available. We cannot install it on Windows. Koha has no Windows version. In 2004, there was a Windows version. They stopped because Windows is not a stable platform to install any enterprise edition, software edition. Anyway, suppose you familiar with Windows, you can install it on Koha. Suppose you are in a local network, we can make available Koha in the network. Otherwise, we can install it on a cloud and use Koha through a Windows machine. Only for use, not installation. We can load Koha on a web browser. It will work with any web browser. Installation may be somewhere else. Then another reason, developers has more control on Linux-based operating system than Windows. So they prefer to use Linux-based operating systems. And many server computers and server hosting, cloud hosting service providers prefer to use uh, Linux-based operating system. So Koha has no Windows version, and developers does not encourage to develop a Koha Windows version on Koha of Koha. So this situation will very difficult for librarians, especially not librarians. Everybody familiar with Windows. Anyway, we have to familiar with this Linux based operating system, then only we can successfully manage this Koha in the PC. See, what are the skill set we have to acquire to implement Koha? One is Linux basics. Linux basic is a set of skills to manage Linux. Second is database basics, MariaDB or MySQL basic. Then a small idea on computer networking. Then we have to know how to keep in touch with the latest update. Then copy and paste skills. We have to apply many commands. So we have to apply these commands. Then lot of curiosity. Curiosity means curiosity to learn new things. A lot of things change day by day. We have to keep in touch with it. See, what are the Linux basic we have to acquire? Anyway, open files using text editor. In Windows, we can double click and open files and make changes and save it. But in Linux, we have to apply commands to open these files. For example, here is a command to open a particular system file using a text editor from Koha. This command may feel difficult for beginners, but if we familiar with these commands, you can easily manage Linux. Then copy one file and folder from one place to another place. Copy and move files and folders. Then cron job for scheduled jobs. This is very helpful. Cron jobs. We can give some instruction to take backup of your database on a particular time. It will work and take a backup and put it in a particular place. That is called a cron job. Then file permission. We have to give some permission to the system to make changes on the file. Then Debian and Ubuntu is a Linux-based operating system. Certain things are applicable to all Linux operating system, Linux-based operating system, and in Debian, Ubuntu is a special kind of Linux-based operating system. Its architecture is different from other Linux-based operating system. They have their own application format. They have their own commands. So we have to familiar with this Debian or Ubuntu basics. For example, they frequently use the command sudo. Then we have to know how to install a package or how to install a new software in Debian, how to uninstall it. These things, there's some specific method available for Debian and Ubuntu. Anyway, we will see these commands tomorrow. Then database management. How to create a database, how to delete a database, how to take backup of the database, how to restore the database, then manage a database using commands, then and many things, and uh, how to manage database using PHP myadmin. See the screenshot. These commands and interface are text based. For a beginner, it may looks ugly. They understand nothing, and we can install a front end or graphical interface for this database to make the work more easy. Such a tool is called a PHP myadmin. And SQL query. SQL query is a language. We can make use it for interact with the table. For example, if we want the whole list of books stored in Koha, we can give some instruction to display the whole book list of books inside Koha. That's the SQL query. Mistakes from librarian side. What are the common mistakes happened in from librarian side? No regular update with the latest developments, and people, librarians are not tech savvy people. They are not network administrators, so they do not try to keep in touch with the latest developments. In this area, development is very fast, and even in the Koha case, they release a two major version every year, and a lot of updates they will release. Uh, we have to know about these changes very frequently. Then no participation in communities. If we join and follow the activities in the communities, then only we know about what are the changes are going on. And we in many libraries Koha they installed, but they do not use the uh, full modules. Many libraries use only cataloging, circulation, and the report module, and they do not use acquisition module and serials module. And no effort to acquire skill set. That means in libraries and schools, nobody teach, and these days started to teach basics of Linux and other things. Um, this teaches does the Linux and other things not include in the syllabus, so they feel difficult to handle when they handle these things. And many more pitfalls from librarian side. Not like Windows, this Debian, Ubuntu, Linux-based operating system is very different. So many passwords they have to handle. For example, Linux has a username and password. It has another root username and password, and it has database username and password. Koha has another username and password. They're confused with this kind of these passwords and things. Anyway, we should ready to accept these changes, and we have to keep in touch with the latest developments. These are the some changes happened to Koha in many, I mean, few years back. These small changes, but like many librarians didn't know about these changes, and they get in trouble not knowing these changes. For example, they have moved from MySQL to MariaDB as the default database, and they have cut down the provision to login direct from database username and password. Earlier, Koha, we can log in using same username and password of Koha database, but they closed that provision, and people um, upgraded to 18.05. They are not able to log in, but the developer says that you have to create a separate username and password to login, and don't use this database username and password to login. Then Google turning off less secure app access. Earlier, Gmail connected to Koha uh, to send emails, but later they turned off that feature. We can add username and password of Google account to send emails, but they turned off that feature and introduced another feature, uh, two-step verification. But after that, these emails not does not sending from Koha. And librarians confused that what's the reason. Actually, they turned off that feature. If they follow the groups and the community, they could easily know about it. See, what are the suitable Linux distributions for Koha? The developers prefer Debian or Ubuntu. Many lot of Linux-based other operating systems available. Red Hat, CentOS, Fedora. Those are another group of operating system, and it does not Koha does not work with these operating system. It works well with Debian and Ubuntu. We cannot install it on Red Hat and CentOS and Fedora. In Indians, earlier Red Hat, CentOS, and Fedora was very popular, and people know, especially sysadmins ask about whether it works with CentOS or Red Hat. And one more thing, this Ubuntu has different kinds of desktops. Desktop means it's a graphical interface of the operating system, application launcher, panels. These belong to desktop. Wallpaper, different kinds of, not like Windows, different kinds of desktops available. For example, Genome, KDE, XFCE, heavy desktops and lightweight desktops also available. Suppose your system is old, we have to prefer a lightweight desktop called XFCE. Okay, suppose if you install Genome, your system may be old. If your system is old, it will slow down your system. It will need a lot of resources to work. And then choose supported version of Debian and Ubuntu. That means in the installation manual, they will mention about Koha, this kind latest version works with this version of Debian and Ubuntu. We choose only that version. Otherwise, very difficult to work latest version of Koha on old version of Debian and Ubuntu. Okay, they mention about what are the supported edition of Debian and Ubuntu. Okay, suitable desktop we have seen. This is the Ubuntu Ubuntu Genome desktop. We are familiar with this desktop, purple color. This is a Genome desktop. Genome desktop is very heavy. So if your computer is very old, or your computer if you don't need a heavy desktop, you can choose another desktop. What will happen if we install Ubuntu with the Genome desktop on an old computer? It cannot hang, it cannot carry or hold this big or heavyweight Genome desktop on the computer. System becomes slow. This is the Ubuntu desktop. Anyway, Ubuntu is a Linux-based operating system. Its core is same, but the graphical layer is different. See here, Ubuntu desktop. Ubuntu comes with XFCE, that is called Ubuntu. Ubuntu comes with the Genome, that is called Ubuntu. They have different website. Suppose you want to download this operating system, we have to make a search in Google Ubuntu. Okay, then the Ubuntu website will come. Suppose if you try to make a search in Google Ubuntu only, it shows the website of Ubuntu with the Genome desktop. This is a lightweight desktop operating system. It requires only 1 GB, 1 GB RAM. Anyway, these days prefer to use 8 or 16 GB RAM. Day by day, hardware price is decreasing. Then next is hardware selection for Koha. One more thing, how to download Ubuntu. Make a search Ubuntu, enter. Then go to Ubuntu website. Then click on download button. Here we can see, first we have to visit the installation manual of Koha. They will mention that 22.04 edition is supported. See here, scroll down, 22.04. See here, mirror. Mirror means various server located in various countries. Select a nearest mirror. For example, Thailand. Not available. Then Japan. See, Xubuntu desktop. This ISO file, 3 GB size. Right click and download it. This way we have to download the ISO file to install it on the PC. We are going to wish install Koha. Anyway, I will tell in detail how to select operating system later. And suppose you want to download Debian, go to the Debian website, go to getting Debian, sorry, here, downloading Debian CD DVD. Here we can download images of the stable release. Prefer to use DVD version of Debian operating system, suitable to install it on AMD 64. It will download the ISO file. Then hardware selection for Koha. Okay, this is very important. You should be careful. See, based on your requirements, we have to select the appropriate hardware we have to buy. Consider how much records you have. Suppose you have only small library, small collection, 25,000 records only. We have to buy hardware, computer with the hardware suitable to that number of records. Then you have only 500 users and only 50 transactions per day. We need a computer with a high capacity. Okay. Anyway, suppose you have 3 lakhs books in the library and minimum 500 transactions per day, and you have 5,000 users, you need a more powerful system. And if you want to make it online, your online catalog, you have to buy a server computer. Based on the requirements and the size of the collection, transactions, we have to decide what kind of hardware we need. Okay, then suitable hardware type, desktop computer available, workstation PC available, server computer, cloud computer available. Okay, many small libraries don't want to open. They don't need an online presence. So they only want to switch on the computer in the morning and switch off in the evening. They need an ordinary desktop computer to install Koha. Suppose they want to make available online 24-hour, then server computer is necessary. And we have to buy hardware components like a printer suitable to work with Ubuntu. Not all printers work with Linux-based operating system. These days, most of the printers and other hardware components works well with Linux. Earlier, very few models works with Ubuntu. Anyway, we have to be careful while select a printer to print barcode labels. We have to make sure that this printer works well with the Ubuntu. Otherwise, it's useless. Okay, suppose you want an ordinary desktop system to install Koha. Your administrator or principal ask about give you a detailed computer configuration to buy a computer. Okay, we have to give very detailed information regarding the computer. And we have to mention there Intel Core i5 processor, processor speed this much, RAM size 16 GB, computer memory type 240 GB, SSD or NVMe storage. We have to specifically mention, otherwise we will not get the ideal computer for the Koha installation. Then we have to mention about what operating system preloaded with this computer. Uh, we need to install Linux. Anyway, if it does not mention operating system, they will they will give you a computer with the Windows, preloaded Windows. That Windows cost maybe 10,000. You have to additional give them 10,000 rupees. But we will install Linux. We have to erase Linux. To avoid that, we have to mention their operating system, either Linux or FreeDOS. Otherwise, they will supply you computer with the Linux Windows operating system. Next is storage. Traditional storage or SSD storage. HDD storage is obsoleted. SSD storage is the latest one. I will tell you in detail what is SSD storage. See, these are the two kinds of storages available now, HDD, SSD, and a M.2. This is the traditional one, HDD, we are familiar with. It's a bulky. Its speed is slow. Slow means write and read speed. Suppose you put a pen drive and copy one movie of 2 GB movie from pen drive to computer. It may take 5 minutes. Reason is that reading speed is very slow with HDD. Suppose another, if you have a SSD storage, it will be more fast. It use another technology. Anyway, latest computers, like laptop and desktop, comes with the SSD. SSD has two kinds. One is ordinary SSD, another is M.2 SSD storage. Anyway, prefer to use SSD. What's the difference between SSD and HDD? The difference in the port or transfer technology. This is the SATA port. SATA port means kind of port HDD has to plug in. Storage has to plug in that port. This is a SATA port. And it has SSD also available to insert into SATA port. That also speed. This one we can install on the same SATA port. See, this is M.2 socket. M.2 socket is another kind of socket. It's a protocol standard to data transfer. This is the M.2 SSD drive. We have to fit it on the M.2 socket. It's too much fast. Too much fast means, suppose we open system, within 2-3 seconds, system will open. It will increase the performance of the PC. And one more thing. While selecting processor, different kinds of processor available. Intel, AMD, different kinds of processor, and they also produce so many kinds of processor. For example, Core i3, Core i5, Core i3, and these processors are for different purposes. We have to understand that. Core i3 for ordinary computing purposes like streaming, browsing, Office, word processor use. i5, this is for little bit higher purposes. i7 is for gaming and other purposes. Then i3 is a different, it's a serious name, Core i3, and this segmentation. Inside i3, they release too many processor with a different speed and capacity. See here, Core i3 has comes with a different speed and performance. See here, speed is different. Then number of core. Core means engines inside a CPU. Engine means suppose a cart carry by one bullock, it has a limited speed. Suppose it pull by two bullock, its speed will increase, capacity will increase. Same like a core. Number of core increases, the performance of the CPU will increase. It capable for multitasking. Okay, based on this speed and the number of core, its performance will increase. And one more thing, cache. Cache is some temporary memory inside. It also influences speed. Based on that, price also varies. Then one more thing, this generation has some generation concept is there. Intel latest generation is 14 generation, i3 14 generation, i5 14 generation. Generation represents advances in the technology. 14 is the latest generation. 13, 12, 11, 10, that's the previous generation. Don't buy old generation. See, this is the processor numbering scheme. This is the manufacturer name Intel. Core is the brand name. i7, i3, i5 is the brand modifier for various purposes. This is the generation indicator. This is the 8th generation. Otherwise, it will 14, 13, 12 generation will come. It's a product line numbering. U, product line suffix, that is for U means energy efficient processor. That's processor suitable for laptops computer. It works on battery, so it need more energy. It should be energy efficient. See there, we can also consider AMD processor, another company for computer and laptop. They have same like a Core series, they have a Ryzen series. AMD is better or equivalent to Intel. And the same scheme they have. They also, their price is little bit less than Intel and the performance is good. You can also consider these processor. And one more thing, if you feel difficult to prepare the specification of the hardware specification, you can visit any computer website, manufacturer website called Dell Computer. Okay, go to their website. We can find latest configuration of PC. See, these are the desktop PC, Inspiron, Alienware. Okay, click on shop Inspiron. Their desktop series name is Inspiron. And see here, and filtering mechanism is there. You can select, suppose you want i5 computer, check i5. It shows the computer with i5. See the latest configure, see the configuration, click on customize. You can choose or write down the latest processor. Okay, i5 13 indicates 13 generation, then cache 20 MB cache, 10 core, 16 threads. This is the clock speed. Very highly priced desktop and with for high performance computer, this is okay. Okay, i3 13 generation, i5. Okay, this is the clock speed. Everything they mentioned, we can purchase a proposal for buy this kind of computer. Then 8 GB RAM, storage 512 GB M.2 PCLE socket. Okay, if you specifically mention these components, they will specifically give you the quotation of this kind of computer. And Windows operating system, we can mention there Linux or FreeDOS. They will supply computer without any operating system. If you feel difficult, go to the any website of Lenovo or Dell. You can find a specification of their desktop model. You can copy it. We can take a 5 minutes break. Okay, we return at 8:10. Okay, 8:10 we will return. Have a break for about 10 minutes. Welcome back. Okay, then one more thing we have to know about what's the difference between workstation and desktop PC. Desktop PC is for ordinary use, home and office use. Workstation is little bit higher than desktop PC in terms of performance. For example, an architect who prepare a 3D image of the home, they have to run many higher-end software which consume too much graphics and processing power. This workstation PC comes with a, good performance processor and a separate graphical processing unit. For enhanced graphical experience, they need a separate processor. Okay, such kind of workstation comes with a heavy duty processor and a graphical processing unit. See here, branded workstation PCs are available. Many companies they produce. Their brand name is sub brand name. I mean, this Dell Precision, that is workstation PC of Dell company. Lenovo ThinkStation, that the workstation PC of Lenovo company, and HPC. This is not server computer, not suitable to work for 24 hour. Anyway, it's a higher end PC of higher end version of desktop computer. Anyway, really need a server class computer, but it does not require. Suppose you have no plan to switch on for 24 hour, only desktop computer is required. Suppose you want to make available Koha on the web, you need a separate server computer. Um, Suppose we want to place an order for server computer, we have to specifically mention the configuration, same like a desktop PC. We have to mention processor name. Intel has Xeon processor for server class computer. For desktop computer, they have a Core series processor. For server class computer, they have a Xeon series processor. And these processor has different kinds of processor available. For example, uh, basic processor, entry level processor available for small purposes. HP has their own processor series called Proliant series processor. They have ML series is very basic processor. It will cost only 60,000 rupees. And think Dell has their own processor series available. We can find these detailed specifications from their website. Suppose we want to purchase a processor, we have to specifically mention its hardware specification. These days, maintenance of server is very difficult because suppose we have a server, we have to make sure that 24-hour working. We have to arrange power supply and a power backup. We have need a UPS. But cloud, with the advent of cloud services, no need to maintain a physical machine. Actually, we can hire server instances from cloud. We only pay the money. No need to maintain anything physical. This is very convenient. Different cloud service providers available: Amazon, Google, Microsoft. We can buy process server based on our purpose. Very easy to buy. And we can specify this kind of processor and this type of storage, and based on the price also varies. See here, cloud pricing. So for example, DigitalOcean, memory 512 MB, RAM, 1 CPU, 500 GB store data transfer. Data transfer means uploading and downloading of data. 10 GB storage. This is very basic entry level virtual server or cloud server. This is suitable for running a small website. Per month, $4. 8 into 80 into 4. About 350 rupees we have to pay. 2 GB to CPU, data transfer 3000 GB, SSD storage 60 GB, $18. We can select it. Suppose we want to hire a cloud server for Koha, we can choose 8 GB RAM, 100 GB storage. Price may vary. Then Koha release schedule. Every May and November month, a major version will come. Okay. Every third week of the May and November, a new version will come. This major version comes with a lot of new features and update on earlier features. And in addition to major version, every month they release a bug fix release. Bug fix means when a new release of software arrive, it may contain lot of errors. When users start to use it, it noticed by the developer. They will solve that error and release a new version. That is bug fix and a monthly update. See here, 23.05. 23 is the year of release. 05 is the month of release. 23 May month, this version released. And 5 means fifth update. Fifth update. Anyway, we want to know the detailed information on what's new in a new release. Or when a new release arrives, we want to know what are the new features available with the release. We can visit the site koha-community.org org, where we can get a detailed information regarding each major version. It has four kinds of editions available. One is stable release. This is the latest one. 23.11. The coming version is 24.05. Old stable, the previous version 23.05 is the previous version. Old stable means 22.11. Then unstable is the beta version, testing version. While installing Koha, we can mention that which version want to install. I will tell you show you in detail how to mention that. Installation steps tomorrow I will tell in detail. Koha installation steps. Anyway, first we have to consult official installation manual available at Koha Wiki, where it will tell you which is the latest version, which operating system it support. These things they will tell you, give you the information. Based on that installation manual, we can install. Suppose you want to learn yourself how to install Koha, you can install it in a desktop computer in your library. First install Ubuntu or Debian, then try to install Koha there. Suppose your library has only a single computer. There a library software is running. Don't disturb the existing machine. You can install a VirtualBox software and install Linux inside that and try yourself. Three kinds of installation available. One is install using Debian or Ubuntu packages. Second is install using JIT. Debian or Ubuntu packages means it Koha available with the .deb package. That is the native format of Debian or Ubuntu package. Same like exe.exe file in Windows. JIT means we can directly install it from source code. Another method available. Then tarball. Tarball means source code in compressed format. Anyway, first method is easy for everyone. Install using Debian or Ubuntu packages. Okay, Koha receive monthly updates. Debian or Ubuntu receive updates frequently. Okay, anyway, both Ubuntu and Debian receive monthly update. Anyway, we have to regularly update both Ubuntu and Koha. Then only we get new features and error fix of the previous version. And see here in Koha, many Koha users don't know what's the version of Koha they are running. If they click on about Koha page, we can see the version of Koha. Then what to do when we try to upgrade from very old version of Koha? Uh, Anyway, suppose it's very old version, don't try to upgrade in itself. Ubuntu version may be very old. For example, 14.04 that installed in, that released in 2014. Support is over. We cannot directly upgrade it. We have to take the backup, install new version of Koha, and restore it. In certain cases, this upgrade process may collapse. In that case, we have to, suppose Koha is running, export book details and other details and import it into new version. And one more thing, anyway, we need a good homework for Koha implementation. We have a good idea, build a good idea regarding its installation. We need a technical support to install and maintain it. Um, anyway, we have no more commitment. Suppose if you learn a lot of Koha, suppose another librarian don't know about it, he want to implement it, you have to help them. And a few more. Next, I will show you how to hire a cloud computer for Koha installation. I will show using DigitalOcean. DigitalOcean is a cloud service provider. First, we have to create an account. Either we can sign in using your Google account, otherwise you can create an account. I mean, create an account ID and password. After creating an account at digitalocean.com, many service providers are available. Anyway, this is, I think, very easy to manage. digitalocean.com. First, we have to create an account and a login. Next is we are going to select a virtual machine. Virtual machine means not a physical machine, a virtual machine that resides somewhere else, maybe in India, maybe in other country. The virtual machines is called droplet. Okay. Different kinds of machine, I mean services we can hire. Apps means suppose you want to install a website for your library. We want WordPress software to install. A ready to use installed WordPress instance there, you can buy it. That's very convenient. We need a machine, a separate machine to install Koha. Virtual machines, see here, cloud server. Independent machine we are going to hire. That's called droplet in digitalocean.com. Okay. First, create an account, enter it. It will, we have to select the product that is cloud server. It's called droplet in digitalocean.com. Okay, create droplet. When you first create an account, we have to pay for the server. It will ask which mode you have to pay, make payment. Every month they will generate bill and you have to pay. We have to connect a credit card to the account. If you add a credit card, you will get a two weeks trial of this virtual server. No need to pay anything. They will deduct $2 and they will return it to make sure that your card is working. Okay, we have to add a credit card. I have already added. Then click on droplet. Suppose you can try this DigitalOcean by a WordPress instance. Okay, click on create droplet, and then we have to tell them what kind of server we need. See here, region of the server, where it should located. Suppose my Koha has users mainly from India. I can choose a server location Bangalore. So it will be very fast. Maybe the location of the server is Bangalore. Then next thing is which operating system you want. Ubuntu available, Debian available. Anyway, we can choose either Debian or Ubuntu. If we are going to use Ubuntu, we have to choose the version 22.04. Okay, 22.04 is the long-term support version of Ubuntu, suitable to install Koha. Okay, see here price $32 per month. But based on the choice, price may vary. Okay, Ubuntu 22.04. Choose the size, basic plan. Basic plan means very basic computer. Otherwise, general purpose. See here, basic plan. Then what kind of storage you need. See here, regular SSD. Otherwise, if you need more speed, you can select NVMe storage. Okay. Based on that, price may vary. Okay, regular. Then 2 GB storage and 50 GB memory. See here, various pricing plans. 4 GB, 18 GB memory. Otherwise, if you need more memory, so here, split premium NVMe 4 GB, 120 GB. What's the price difference? The 4 GB, 120 GB. The $24. If you change it to pre NVMe, go to $32. Okay, regular SSD is okay. Then, okay, select 4 GB. That's okay, 4 GB. Then 80 GB memory. For learning purpose, this is okay for small collection. Then, okay, this is the step. First is select the location of the server. Second is the operating system you have to choose. If Debian you choose, you have to select the latest version 12. This is the edition 12. Its release name is Bookworm. Okay, I choose Ubuntu. Then the purpose, based on the purpose, we can choose different kind of processor. Then storage regular, 4 GB storage, 8 GB memory, 4 TB data transfer. Suppose you have big collection, you can choose 8 GB memory, 160 GB SSD. Then click on one more thing, that is what kind of login you need. Two types of login. Suppose we get a machine computer in other place, and we have to what kind of credential we have to apply to login. For example, same traditional username and password we can use. Password, choose the and enter the password. See here, password should be strong. I am typing the password. there's a number should be there. Uppercase letter needed. Cannot be first or last character. Here, one. Okay, give the password. Cannot end in a number. Okay, this is the password is okay. India 1. This is the login password of the operating system or into the virtual machine password. Okay, then create droplet. See here, $0.36 per hour. That's the price. $0.36. Create droplet. Okay, our server ready. We can access the server from here. Click on server. This is the server name. Console means the command. Console means command prompt will come. Command prompt. Same like Ubuntu terminal. A web-based terminal will come. This is the IP. Using this IP, we access the machine in a web browser. After installation of Koha, we put the IP number, Koha will come. Okay, we just created, so it will take time. Where command prompt will come, same like this, where we can put instruction or command to update the system and Koha installation commands. Connected. This is the terminal. We can type any commands, Ubuntu command. I will tell you in detail regarding Ubuntu command. For example, first I enter the command to update the Ubuntu sudo apt update. I will tell you the meaning of the commands tomorrow. Sudo apt upgrade. These are the updates available. I given the command to make the system updates. It will download and install the operating system updates. It makes the system new. This is the first step of Koha installation. See. So this server location is Bangalore. So it's very fast. Location is there. So this update processor is very fast. It download very fast, about 300 MB packages, and install it. Um, Today we can wind up the session. Actually, it is today weekend. I have booked a film for a film to start at 9 p.m. Theater is very near. Tomorrow we will learn other things like Ubuntu basic commands and how to install Koha on the cloud. These things we will see tomorrow. 7 p.m. we can start up to 9 p.m. Classes will be there. Any doubts regarding today's session? See, operating system update is going to over. This is the last stage of the updation. Anyway, if you have a credit card, try to create an account at digitalocean.com and start a sample cloud. Otherwise, you can request for a trial for 2 weeks. You can close the virtual machine using the command. Just exit from the console. And we have a group. I will share some materials for further reading. Ubuntu handout and Koha handout. Anyway, go through that Ubuntu handout. You can easily understand based on today's class. You can easily understand more about Ubuntu management and commands. And today I will tell you the meaning of each commands, and I will show you how to install Koha on the cloud. Okay.
There is any question? Otherwise, we will handle it. I think, sir, there is no any questions.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, we will
Okay.
see
Have a
tomorrow.
nice evening, all.
Sandeep meeting chat. We will ask the questions
Okay.
today.
Okay. No problem. Thank you.
Okay, yes. Most
And you
welcome.
can also ask the questions in the group. Okay, I will answer there. Okay,
Okay.
thank you all. Have a nice evening.
Nice.